Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with another broadcast here in the Roofing on the Rise studios, where we bring you innovation and education in today's market. Today and every day, we are sponsored by the ROOFNUTS. When you're looking for an awesome lead generation service, I see this all the time. People ask, where do I get storm leads? The ROOFNUTS. Click right here. Get leads from the ROOFNUTS right here. It's right here. Just click it. You can't miss it. It's the first thing right there. Click it. When you click that, it'll take you straight to their webpage. Excuse me. Got a little frog on the throat. And that'll immediately empower you to get in contact with the ROOFNUTS so that you can both lead from the front with your sales team, which is something that they teach, which I really, really love. They go around and do roof camps and teach leadership. But also, they're giving you a site-specific hail map for the lead that they've given you. They have no contractor. They want you there. And dude, I've had more than one that have been in they're like in the middle of shopping. So it's almost like their callers have their feelers out for those people that have their feelers out for roofing. And that's what I want at Lux Roof Company. All right. I want to be able to talk to somebody that wants my services, and 9 times out of 10, that client wants the services. Now get this. Some of you guys are like, dude, telemarketing, stop. It's more like call center. Okay. So they're a partnership with you as a roofing contractor. You have any issues, reach out to me. I doubt that you will, because they are awesome with their customer service. Absolutely awesome. Reach out to the ROOFNUTS. Can't say good enough stuff about those guys. Absolutely love them. VANBOXEL building supply. Now, this is a big deal, right? VANBOXEL has been sweeping across the nation over the last few years. You see them at the road shows. You see BDR in their booths. You see the roofer girl with them. She's taken off shingles and winning competitions across Canada. And it's all powered by VANBOXEL Supply. And we are now powered by VANBOXEL Supply, ladies and gentlemen. Super excited. You can get a roll of felt with them for under $30. $30 a roll. That is pretty significant. So if you're out there, you're a roofing contractor, and you want to cut your cost, and I know for a lot of people, that's about 50% the cost. Now, if it was only 20 or 15%, it'd be worth it. So click right here. There's a link that says get supplies from VANBOXEL. Click the link right now. Click it, and it'll take you straight to their website. And they are absolutely amazing. They'll actually print your logo on the $30 roll. So, bro, you're not losing out at all, because I know a lot of those rolls are upwards into $60 or more whenever you custom print your logo on it. So go out there and check that out. Last but not least, we have this awesome freaking this day today, right? Like, I'm not going to say the day because that'll date where we're at, but I've got a lot of energy, and it's because of the amazing guests that we have. Josiah, how are you doing? Welcome back. It's awesome to have you again. What's up, man?
Nothing. It's been a crazy winter. I mean, we're coming into springtime. The weather's starting to turn. It's getting a little bit warmer. That's invigorating. We're getting into storm season. Sky diamonds are already falling.
Yes.
It's been an early start. I mean, we haven't even hit Patty's Day yet.
I know, and we're already at record-breaking storms for the year. It's insane. The last episode we went over Bryan College Station. I'll pull up some hail that happened from over in Bryan College Station here, and I'll share that with everyone so that you can see what has happened. This was just yesterday. absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's
looks
just
like
crazy.
snow.
So,
Pulled up some
well, and
Facebook
it's not
photos, and the Facebook photos. And so
it's
the
not even
Facebook
the
photos that we pulled up on the was like uh 2.5-inch hail, 2-inch hail, 1.5-inch hail, busted out windows. It's just decimation. Like
mm,
this is a big time for both homeowners, insurance carriers, and roofing companies. So if you're out there, you're a homeowner, you're looking for a roofing company, um, there is an awesome roofing company out in Bryan College Station that I'd love to recommend. So just holler at me, and I'll probably put them down in the comments here as well. I believe it's 1814 Roofing. Maybe it's 1866. I might have the numbers wrong, but anyway, friends of mine over there, awesome people. Actually, the last time I was in Bryan College Station, I just got in a car and a rock fell off of a overpass right before we met for dinner and just splattered the windshield. And the contractor is an amazing guy, helped me out, fixed me up, and fixed the windshield. Like, and not only did he fix it, but it was like the best fix. Like I've had other people fix my windshield, and they can't even hold up to it. So hit him up. It's Cindy and Matt over there, and in College Station, amazing couple, amazing roofing company. Got to check them out. Josiah, so what's going on, dude? Like, what's the update? Last time we had you on, I know we hit some pretty sensitive topics. Uh, and I love that. I love being able to jump into those things, but because that's the nature of the beast. I want to know what has been going on, bro. What has been happening?
just been fighting for the small guys. We've been going toe to toe with insurance companies, whether it be through supplementing or as a public adjuster. The big three are still the big three. And so we've been battling out here, trying to get people the fair and honest settlement that they should be getting. And it's proving to be a little bit more and more difficult as the days go by.
Yeah, no, we were just talking about that. Where do you think that this is going, man? I mean, didn't you say something about legislation in somewhere where
in Iowa? So Iowa right now, I just got, I was speaking with a friend of mine who's a public adjuster in Iowa as well. And, we just went through the legislation that they have proposed. There's actually two bills, one from the governor, one from their Senate, which is what they have, just like United States government, they have a House of Representatives and then they have a Senate, but their term is they call it all the Senate. And they have two bills, essentially making it so the contractor is not going to be able to talk with the insurance company at all. So the people that are advertising, insurance experts, all of that, their whole model would have to change to stay in business.
And that's a big deal. I mean, when you go from insurance restoration to retail, it's a completely different animal, completely different sale. You got to change every aspect to be different, just as in insurance claims. I speak from experience because I deal with insurance claims. I'm a contractor. I got out of insurance claims and I jumped into distribution for about a year. That's when I started the podcast. It was a super awesome time. I want to give a big shout out to everyone that's been a part of Roofing on the Rise and the growth of Roofing on the Rise. And And in that time, insurance claims has changed night and day. Almost, um, it's a light switch for sure. Like flipping the light switch. And the way that the insurance carriers deal with us is completely different. USAA is very, very stonewall, whereas it comes to dealing with insurance contractors. And a lot of these carriers have a portal where they require you to upload your documents there. They won't go over the documents with you. They will just approve what they're going to approve and not approve what they're not approving. And then they're just going to send a statement of why to the insured, and generally citing policy specifics, which I'm not allowed to divulge into. I can divulge into what was there prior, what it takes for construction code, etc., but nothing about the policy. And so a lot of times it handcuffs me from being able to do anything. Whereas 5 years ago, I could call the Big Red in the middle of the night. And a lot of you guys, if you were around that time, you can attest to this as well. Supplements in the middle of the night with Big Red would go through, bro. So much easier. You got people that are moving and trying to get things off of people's desks, and you call, you get it taken care of. Maybe you don't win the entire supplement, but you win, 6 or 7 out of 10, and a lot of times that's a bigger win than you would have gotten during the day. Now you can't do that anymore. It just it doesn't work like that anymore. And for contractors, we can't, in a lot of cases, we can't just call the insurance carrier and say, hey, what's the update? Where's the insurance paperwork? Where's the check, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They immediately block us.
Yeah, and that's the trend that I'm seeing across the board. And it's not just Big Red, it's not just good hands.
Right.
It's not Liberty Bibberty. Like they're all doing it. The thing of it is like, so we're trying to get a fair settlement for the policyholder. Like it's funny because you'll meet an adjuster out there or a Seek Now or Ladder Assist company. That's a whole nother thing that we can get into that's a whole nother podcast. Just those there. I think there's 3 of them that are nationwide, and they're all awful.
They are not on your side, bro.
No. Well, they're on the insurance company side because that's who pays their bills, right? That's who pays the fees. But all of them have gone to
damage. They step on the damage and then circle nail pops or whatever, they force nail pops almost. It's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Just pay for the loss.
I had one so I'm a licensed public adjuster in Iowa and Nebraska, and I don't advertise. Because I do training and contractor training, supplement training, and that's what I really enjoy. So I try and stay on that side of the fence. But I do work for people that like word of mouth, and I have some contractor clients that are good referral sources and attorneys that are good referral sources. And so I'll take those losses on. But I had one outside of Omaha, and it was a hail loss, and they had laminate shingle roof, seamless steel siding, and they send out this guy, and he's from Hancock, and I've been on project sites with this kid probably 10 times, and all 10 of them were denied. And so I have my contractor buddy there with me, and he's up on the roof with the guy, and it was a steeper roof. It was like 8-12 pitch. So I didn't go up there. We already had our photos and everything all done. It was fine. And so I'm watching him, I'm walking around the house from the ground, watching him do his test squares. And so he's up on the second floor, way up tall. And he gets up there and he draws his test square. I have it on video. He looked at that test square for less than 30 seconds and then walked off.
And he moved. Yeah, I hate
And so
that.
I sent that video, and it was good hands was the insurance company.
But I'm just I'm getting a gauge for what's here, man. You ever heard that?
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
I'm just getting a gauge for what's here. Walks off, zeroes out the slope.
Yep. So literally, I sent that video in. I sent that video in with my demand for appraisal, because I was a public adjuster, so I can do that, right? About 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from a different adjuster, and the different adjuster's like, "Your estimate looks fine. We're just going to pay off of that."
Let's go. Win for the
Like,
policy.
but that's the thing. Like, you got, like, people need to understand is that if you provide factual documentation, they can't dispute it. I mean, getting them to respond is the issue, right? That's the
problem.
That's the big trend that I'm seeing right now, is getting a response. Yeah. Now, if you can get an adjuster that corresponds with you, like I have a gal from Farm Bureau. You guys have Farm Bureau down there, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's state specific. So like this is Nebraska Farm Bureau or Iowa Farm Bureau, whatever. And I have a gal over there that I'm working on a loss on. And it's a big loss, but we communicate great. Like I think I got 4 or 5 emails from her just yesterday. Yeah. Responding to emails that I'm sending her, like, hey, what about this? What about that? And she's responding back like right away, which is like, when you have that interaction, it's great. But that's 1 in 100, maybe 1 in 500.
I got an Allstate claim that, bro, every time I call and the client calls, he says the same words in repetition over and over again, as if he's making an intelligent conversation with you. And it is the most annoying thing ever. Yeah, well, we're just getting it all submitted, and it's going to go up there and stuff. So we got you covered. And I'm just like, and he says that over and over and over again. And it reminds me of Hitler, because Hitler said, if you tell a lie long enough, loud enough, and often enough, the people will believe it. Mm-hmm. And so this guy's just saying this over and over and over again. And, at one point I was like, I called the client. I was like, yeah, well, he's got us taken care of, we'll be. And then I was like, hold on, stop, quit, hold on. Nope. Let's meet. I need to come and see you. I need to see you again. We sat down and we talked. It was over. We were done. We're going to the manager. We're above. Like, it's it. We're getting the client taken care of. Ultimately, this client, because the carrier just screwed this lady so bad. Mm-hmm. She gets a policy. The agent screw her. They give her a policy with a 10% deductible. She wrote and asked for 2%. It ended up a 5%, but they doubled the 5% for cyclone deductible. So she ended up with a 10% deductible for cyclone. All right. So she sees all this, and because immediately when they come out to the loss, there's no payment. There's nothing. Right. So this client does a little bit of digging and finds out that, she does have the supporting documents that she sent over to them requesting for a 2% deductible across the board. They emailed her back that they made the appropriate changes to her policy and raised her policy twice. Not only that, but she was paying for 2 separate policies on the property at the same freaking time. So they were trying to deny coverage to begin with because they had 2 different policies on the same. Bro, it was nasty. Okay? Nasty. And this lady here in Houston, right, pulls out all kinds of loans just to be able to get the tree out of her house. Insurance is supposed to cover people. Mm-hmm. And this is in my backyard. And this is one of the things that it was a godsend. Like, I feel like we were a godsend to her and vice versa, because we needed to believe in insurance claims again, but we needed the right client for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this client was the most appropriate client. She's in a wheelchair. She had just paid for hardscaping, which is an amazing thing on a property. And so her concrete, everything, all the decorative, just decimated from this tree that was right there and pulled it up. Of course, the carrier doesn't want to cover any of these things at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Changes it from a cyclone to wind and hail. I'm like, cool, let's run with it. You know why? We've had so much hail, it's retarded, and everything has hail on this house.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, windows, gutters, everything. So you just switch, right? Look at the engineer's report. The engineer comes out for the slab. So why am I saying all this? Like, insurance carriers on average are right now playing the biggest mulberry bush runaround that I have ever seen in my life. Is it the same for you?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's the big. I was going to say that before you even went on that story. I knew where that story was going before you even got there.
Yeah.
So I had a prospective client reach out to me.
Yeah.
Here, so in April of 2024, the west end of Omaha got hit by an EF4 tornado.
Oh my word!
This house was within an eighth of a mile of the tornado. So if you know anything about tornadoes, as they go, they build a debris cloud around it, right? And so they're within the debris cloud. So they reach out to their insurance company, which is a little regional carrier up here.
Yeah.
And the insurance company looks at it and goes, "Oh, yeah, you have some damage here. Here's $7,000 or $10,000." And so when they pushed back, they actually went back to the agent, realized that the agent, instead of putting the roof, because they had told the agent that their roof was put on in 2012.
Yeah.
And so when the agent made the application, the agent put down 2022.
Oh,
and
wow.
So the insurance company went back, pulled the application, canceled the policy for fraud.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the type of shenanigans that are happening. So now they've filed a claim with the errors and admissions carrier for the agent, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to do something.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, their mortgage company catches wind that this policy got canceled, and then they buy a policy on the house to protect the mortgage company.
Right.
So there's like all these different moving parts, right? And so they came to me. I actually saw a news story on one of the local news stations. So I reached out via Facebook and made a comment under the show and said, "Hey, if you want some expert guidance or some assistance, let me know." And that's all. That's my sales pitch. Like, I'll never follow up. If you reach out to me, great, and then we'll have a conversation. Yeah. They reached out. I went out and met with her and her husband. Hearing all of this, I said, "Yeah, I'm not. This is like contractual stuff. Like, you need an attorney." So I hooked him up with my attorney, right? Yeah. Who's an awesome defense litigator and does insurance specific stuff. Yeah. And I think they're still working through it. I haven't heard an update recently, but I know that the attorney had sent out a couple of letters and that things were starting to move for them. But so we have Pella windows up here. Do you guys have Pella windows down there? Pella, Pella. They're premium windows, right? Well, they charge a premium for the windows.
Pella windows.
And so this house has all Pella windows. They're like the Nike of windows for us in this area. Like, everybody wants them. They're decent windows.
It's Anderson.
Anderson down there for you guys.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Okay.
So we have Anderson up here too. So very similar. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're expensive. The window bid for this house alone was $104,000.
Yeah.
I mean, because so what people don't understand with like tornado damage, and I hope all the adjusters listen to what I'm about to say, because I've seen, this is the third house that I've seen it on from that tornado, from that same day. Tornado damage is different than wind and hail.
Oh yeah.
Let me say that one more time for the people listening. Tornado damage is different than wind and hail.
Preach it. Amen.
Because so like tornado damage will suck the window seals out and pull all of the gas out of your windows because it creates a vacuum. It's a vacuum. It's a low pressure vacuum. I have a client. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I've seen shingles lodged in the corner of the window. So like an aluminum window where you raise it in the channel where it goes up and down, a shingle has lodged inside of it. And the shingle is perfectly on the inside and on the outside, almost as if it was a magic playing card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a client. Big, beautiful house, right? There was a stick that came in through the tray in his master bedroom.
Wow.
And it wasn't very big, about the size of my pinky.
Yeah.
But this is also the guy, they were within 100 feet of an EF4 tornado. His, and people that are familiar with me have heard this story. His grandfather, or not his grandfather, his father-in-law was in their storm shelter in the basement, who has COPD. He's older. He couldn't breathe for over a minute because of how much that vacuum was on that tornado. It took him over a minute before he could breathe again. And so we went, like the contractor and I went around this property, and it's got a 50-year shake laminate shingle, hardy board siding, brick and stone facade. All of it's damaged. Big Red, here's 30,000. My estimate's over 750.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, almost every single time as a contractor, I have to advise whenever I deal with insurance carriers and with clients that whenever I write my estimate up, that to expect ridiculous, because their numbers are never anything, because they're telling me, well, this is what, listen, so the wind was blowing so hard and it sounded like the windows were going to break, but they didn't. I hear that a lot. But the water came in, and then you're like, okay, well, they didn't pay for the windowsill. They didn't pay for the water extraction out of the wall. They didn't pay for the carpet or the carpet pad or the tack strip or the labor to take it out or any kind of cleaning or any kind of supervisory fees or any kind of GCOMP. There's consistently never any kind of masking on anything that I ever see on any kind of insurance claim right now. So it's the appearance of good, but it's not. It's just shit. It's just, here's a platter of shit, and they say, hey, it's chocolate. You're going to love this. And they're like, okay, well, it doesn't smell like chocolate.
Well, and so like let's rewind a little bit. So going back, and the reason that like we are where we are currently is because, let's be honest, there were a lot of contractors that were taking things that weren't claims, having people file them, and then pushing it to the 9th degree, and getting it covered. And it's happened in every state, and that's why we're at where we're at. Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good contractors out there. Like, I'm friends with a lot of them on Facebook. I interact with them daily. Right. But I mean, there's also shitbags.
You're right. You're on it.
So here's the like, this is how we move forward. Texas has got their specific stuff that, like, I know that we talked about Stonewater roofing, right?
Yeah.
Like the Texas DOI versus Stonewater roofing. Iowa's got their legislation that's going on right now where they're essentially trying to say, hey, if you're a contractor and you're talking with the insurance company, you have to be licensed. They're like putting in a whole bunch of documentation points.
Right.
And so let me tell you what, 9 times out of 10, those contractors aren't going to do it. And all it's doing is setting them up for fines and fees and taxes and all of that, right? And it's only going to take one or two times of you not doing something 100% correctly and them catching it, and you're going to be out of business.
Fraud.
Yep. Or they're going to go down the fraud route with you. Like I have one right now. They're putting
fraud.
it.
You don't do it, it's fraud. Like if you don't do it and you collect for it, it's fraud. So I mean, in let's just say something super simple, because I'm a contractor. And I've been the estimator for a large roofing company before, and I've gotten the pictures, and then I've also gotten a subpoena from Big Red and had to get on a deposition in regards to claims that were written by me, but I was given very limited information. So when you and I didn't do anything wrong. The contractor did. They knew exactly what they were doing. I sat in the office and all day, all I did was do estimation. So it wasn't like I was out in the field. I didn't do the replacement. I didn't get a commission. It wasn't none of that. I got paid to estimate. So ultimately what happens though is that, you're out there and some of you guys are getting big, you're growing. And like, I'm watching some of my friends grow right now and it's awesome. So if you're watching this, please pay attention. Your job sites originally, you sat on them, you stayed, you were there the whole time, you went back and forth, you made sure that your clients were taken care of. Now you have a sales rep. Your sales rep is bouncing around. They're not unlike you when you had your first sales job and you were kind of bouncing around and just trying to find your way. And so ultimately, and not all sales reps are like that, but it's not their company. And so you are responsible to make sure that on every single job, and if you have company cam, this is an awesome way for you to be able to know and hold your contractors accountable for this. But make sure that your drip edge is replaced. If you charge for the drip edge, replace the drip edge. Make sure that when you are replacing flashings like the cap collar and base flashing, that's a supplemented item that's really big. And make sure that you replace those cap collar and flashing every single time. And if you don't collect for it.
I spoke with they're an up and coming roofing company. I think they did 100 roofs last year, 125 roofs last year.
That's spoken. That's over 1 million.
Yeah, and then they're, like I said, they're up and coming. They want to do 400 roofs this year. They're growing. And that's a lot of the interactions that I have with roofing contractors are probably in that range, somewhere between all of that, anywhere from, I have clients that do like 40 to 50 roofs a year. I have clients that do 1,000 roofs a year. And the thing about this one particular company that struck me, and I used to work for during COVID, when COVID went down, I was a forensic building consultant. So I was traveling constantly. I traveled so much. We'll put it this way. The TSA agents at my home airport knew me by first name.
That's fine.
That's how much I was traveling. So I wanted to get off the road. So I ended up going to work for, excuse me, got a frog in my throat, J-Tech Construction here in Nebraska.
Okay, cool.
A little plug to those guys over there. They're the official exterior partner of the Huskers. So, but they had a system similar to this other roofing company that I'm referring to, is that when we would invoice, like jobs done, certificate of completion is signed, everybody's happy, we would invoice. This is what we did, the things that we did not do, and have it listed out. And that's what both of these companies are doing. And I think that's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
So say, you have step flashing in your supplement and you don't do the step flashing. That's fraud.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you collect payment on it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm of the thought process, everything on that roof needs to be replaced. Chimney flashing, step flashing, head wall flashing, all of it. Because if you don't replace that, and a lot of people don't replace their flashings, right? If you don't replace that, all you're doing is opening yourself up for leaks.
Yeah.
Because once you set foot on that roof is yours.
Yep.
So in 5 years down the road, if it leaks, you're getting the phone call.
Yep.
Right? If 10 years down the road that roof starts to leak, you're getting the phone call. If you're still in business. Like, that's the thing, is that once you do work on a roof, that's your roof until someone else does work on that roof. And if you don't replace all of the components, you're just opening yourself up for a failure.
Yeah.
And remember, water can go anywhere the air can.
Yeah.
The primary purpose of that roof is to shed water.
Yeah.
And so if you don't get one little thing sealed correctly, it's going to leak. And that's a phone call to you, right? And so that's why I am a huge proponent of, yes, are Big Red, Good Hands, Liberty Bibberty, are all those guys going to pay for step flashing? No. But if you go up there and you replace it like you should, and you document it with photographs, that's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
In supplementation, in supplementing, photographs are where you make your money. If you have good photographs, because let me tell you what, it probably never would get to litigation, but if it did, and you said, here's a picture of us replacing the step flash, the 12 peers are going to be like, well, they replaced it. Well, here's the manufacturer guidelines that says that we have to replace the step flash. Well, if GAF or OC or Atlas or ICO or whoever TAMCO, whoever you're installing, says that they have to replace all the flashings on that roof, guess we better listen to the experts. You're never going to lose.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, that I want anybody that's listening to the podcast to listen to. My biggest thing when I talk to roofers, restoration contractors, when I talk about supplementing, my biggest thing is, and my biggest takeaway that I tell them is that don't step over $1 to get to a dime. Know your numbers. And so what I mean by both of those statements, right? The first one is don't chase after overhead and profit, line items, whatever, when you could be going out and selling your next job.
Exactly.
Because you're going to make more. Yeah, you may win that $200 supplement, but you may have lost out on that $5,000 worth of profit on the next roof.
My thing is that I'm in here messing around with an insurance carrier over what they're paying for. Say they're not paying for the cap collar and base flashing. That's getting replaced, period, in the discussion. Like it doesn't matter. Head wall flashing, step flashings, etc. Like it's got to be done. And so my give to the homeowner is whenever I look at the paperwork, I know where I need to be and I know my numbers. And so I'll take that job on and I'll tell them, okay, I can build this now. I will do a supplement, but if they fight me much, I'm not pursuing. I'm not going to charge you either. And the reason why with insurance for that is that I know my margins. I know I can do it. I can profit. Then if they're going to sit there and mess with me for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks over, like you said, a $200, $300, $500, even $1,000 supplement, is it worth it whenever the neighbor, Mr. Smith, needs a roof and you didn't have the time to think about that because you're going over these $1,000, $500 or $200 supplements? When, yes, those are great if you win, 100 of them a year, it'll add up. Yes, I get that. But you can also dedicate just like 2 weeks or a week or whatever. And if it doesn't settle, if it doesn't go through, then just be done with it and have them submit the depreciation.
It's funny because a lot of contractors get hung up on what line items they get. Like it's a game.
I don't care.
Yeah. So whatever your number is. So when I was at JTech and random numbers, like we knew if we had more than $500 a square or $350 a square, whatever.
There you go.
Like we were $350 a square at the time. Now prices have gone crazy, right? Yep. And now it's probably closer to $550 a square, right? Depending on the market. But if we had that, we would go ahead and put that into production, get things done, and we would try to supplement, right? And if we got it up to $650 a square, that's a win, whatever. And then we'd move on.
I think
but you get these
that and don't take this the wrong way, but contractors have affiliations with public adjusters or with law firms across the United States, and contractors got used to being able to turn over a policy holder to one of these firms, and these firms turning it over in 4 to 6 weeks or even within 12 weeks and bring out a result that's very desirable, over $700 a square on 3 tab walkers. I've seen $900 a square. And the problem is that when a contractor gets $900 a square on a 412 3 tab roof, they get freaking greedy. And they're like, okay, well, the next one needs to be that. And if you got that one, then the next one needs to be that as well. And then when you don't have $900 square payouts, they start getting pissed. And that's a trend that you see across the industry. And then they're like, well, we're just going to, you know what? Screw it. Screw all these agencies. We're going to do it ourselves. We're going to get us an in-house supplementer, and we're going to do this shit ourselves. And that's when you see the stuff that we've been talking about. And it's kind of rampant because you've got just so many moving parts. It's like a grandfather clock. And it's almost easy to commit fraud whenever you're doing $4 million worth of roofs a year, because if you don't have one person taking the right photos, it's over for you.
It's funny because anytime I start a referral relationship with a contractor, I sit down with them for an hour and talk about it. And I won't say who it was, but they were based out of Colorado. And so we were talking about their supplementing processes and like what that looked like. And it's funny because I said, what's the average per square price that you get on your supplements? He's like $900 per square. And so we talked for a little while longer. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help you any. And they're a smaller company, mom and pop shop, but that's like, I'm, if you're getting $900 a square, there's nothing I can do for you at that point. Now, don't get me wrong. There are the unicorns. Like I've gotten, we talked about the one with the Hancock adjuster or Freudian slip there. The Hancock roof inspector with the video and the 30-second test square. I got $1,100 a square on that one.
Might have to edit that. Might have to edit that one a little bit.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. That'll be for a different podcast. We can talk about
red as your hat, bro.
But yeah, it's that's the thing is like we're just not going to be able to help you out if that's what your expectations are.
You're a contractor and you're out there and you're like, dude, these guys are fucking hounding. Dude, I'm a contractor myself. Like I'm telling you that these claims, you don't have to make even $700 or $800 a square. You are profitable at where you're profitable over around 30 north of 35%, you're profitable. And I don't, even at a mega large roofing company where you've got margins of over 40%, which I know that there are some roofing companies that are out there like that because you have a higher overhead. Um, you, you still you still don't have to get $900 a square because that's well over that percentage. I mean,
and
it's nuts, and you're not doing anything for the client. So for me, like, I want the client's needs above everything else, and I want their experience to be the highest over everything else, and I want their property to be taken care of above everything else. So I'm not a brand specific contractor. I'm not putting GAF on every single roof that I'm not putting GAF on roofs. I don't like the GAF brand. Please don't sue me, GAF. It's just a shingle, a very small shingle. So if you want to gain my business, make it a little thicker, maybe, like a Snicker, baby. And I'll give you some freaking advice on those. But ultimately, I've sold plenty of elk shingles in the day, whenever it was elk and GAF. But ultimately, I'm not that contractor that only installs GAF, that only installs Certainty, that only installs Malarkey, or what have you. The client's needs and the client's wants. Like, I'm an HGTV contractor. I'm coming in, like, we've got gold foil on our cards. Like, our brand is super luxurious. So we're coming in there with a luxe feel, a luxe tailored experience, and we're going to provide you with a gallery of options. And then we're going to, select through those options with you. Now, if you're out there and you're like, dude, I'm listening, I'm a homeowner, I need a contractor, click down here and you can get in contact with me and I'll help you out. And if you're a contractor out there and you're like, dude, I need a rep that's going to be able to work with me, and I might even be speaking out of tune here, but click on Josiah's name here and reach out to Josiah. And he does a lot of training too, like he said earlier. So if you're looking for some guidance in your life on claims, and you're like, these dudes knows what's going on with claims, I'm gonna point to Josiah 9 times out of 10, just because he's a qualified professional. But dude, as a contractor, I'd be more than happy to divulge anything that I know about and that I can help you with, anything that I've dealt with personally. And ultimately, I think that that's what we need, is a coalition of people together that will help each other out and move towards a higher goal. Let's see here.
I'll say something real quick while you're working on that. If you're a contractor specifically from Nebraska, reach out to me, because we are working on putting a coalition of roofing contractors together to help try and offset some of the insurance carrier favorable legislation and regulations. So if you have any interest in that and you're hearing this, like, reach out to me. We're going to work on getting a coalition put together to protect the roofing industry in the state of Nebraska. We're already working on it.
I love it. So I put together the contractor hub here in Houston. I got some reach out for people in Dallas that are wanting to open in Dallas, but I've got people from all over the place. If you're a contractor connecting with other professionals in the United States, click on the contractor hub. We'll put a link down here so that you can get a hold of that, and you can join an awesome environment of people that are trying to push for better legislations. There it is. That's the one.
Nailed it.
We're not perfect here. We'd love the main thing. The reason why I started this podcast was to bring innovation and education to the industry. I've been a contractor for over 11 years. I got I've had a lot of hurdles. And so these hurdles have, put me into the position where, I want to help others to understand what those hurdles are. It started with 1099 versus W-2. And so, we started kind of hot on those subjects, and it's kind of evolved. We've been able to bring a lot of awesome professionals like Josiah in to be able to help educate a lot of people here. Josiah, I want to thank you for coming on today. It's been an awesome podcast. If you were a person that was watching this, what would be the biggest takeaway for you
from the podcast today? Know your numbers. Know what your profit margin needs to be. That's how you will be successful. Don't step over $1 to get to a dime. Always be selling.
ABC.
Legit. That's ABC. Always be selling.
I love that, dude. We went knocking last night, me and my son. It's spring break here in Houston, so I got my 11-year-old son with me, and went on a couple appointments. But then after the appointments, he's like, "Dude, when are we gonna knock?" I'm like, "We're knocking right now." All right. So we drove 20 minutes away because the area we were at was just not a good area for us to knock in. So we went, found the area that I wanted to knock, and we started knocking. And dude, we 5 leads just in like in an hour. And it was already in the evening. So self-talk is a big thing. If you're out there, and you're like, dude, I'm dealing with depression and anxiety, etc. Just like, dude, reach out to some people. Myself, there's a lot of people that watch this that we're all like, we all deal with our own thing, right? We all deal with our own issues and our own self battles, but we're all here for each other, and that's what I like about roofing. So if you need any help, dude, ask the guy next to you, ask me, ask Josiah, because I know that he'd help you out as well. You guys have an awesome day. Remember that if you are a roofing contractor out there and you're struggling to get leads going in a storm environment, first off, hit me up because I'll give you some pitches. They're really great, and it helped me out as well. Number 2, down here, get leads from the ROOFNUTS. Click the link. It is so easy. Get leads from the ROOFNUTS. Click the link. So not just this banner, but click the link below the banner. And that will take you directly to their website. And they're going to give you site-specific maps of the hail or the wind so that you will know what's going on when you go to the homeowner. And whenever you go to them, they don't have a contractor. They are ready to see you. It's an awesome experience. I've done all kinds of call center and all kinds of telemarketing. The ROOFNUTS is definitely different. I've been running ROOFNUTS leads since December, so I know. Get in contact with the ROOFNUTS. And also VANBOXEL Building Supply. If you're out there and you're doing any kind of squares, dog, like squares, dollar bills, dog, we know that rebates are a big thing. But listen, screw the rebate and just buy from somebody that will sell you the product at a right price. VANBOXEL Building Supply is selling rolls of felt at $30 a roll. $30. That is so cheap. When you look at a roll of felt from anywhere else, you're over $60. And that is just a fact. And printed, you're at $75. Well, they are printed logo, $30 a roll. Don't just take my word for it. Click the link right there, man. Reach out to VANBOXEL Building Supply. They'd love to have you. Josiah, again, thank you so much for coming on. We always get into some awesome stuff, and I can't wait for the next one because I know we'll bring the heat again. But thank you so much for coming along. God bless you. And if you're watching, hit the like and subscribe button. Like and subscribe to my boy over here, and you guys have a wonderful day. Until the next